welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives F1's worst car since 2010, so you don't have to, in the desperate hunt for points. And you join us at the Italian Grand Prix ranked 12 of the 2015 season, and you join us off the back of a dismal Belgian Grand Prix, where we had some contact, had some damage, and ended up just about scraping home in 14th, thanks to mainly retirements and just about managing to jump the two-man rushes. It was a pretty chastening experience. And we're headed to another circuit, much like parts of Spa, that is all about power. And we're driving a McLaren MP430, the Honda-powered McLaren MP430. So power is something we are going to be lacking, which means I think this could be quite a difficult race. I also need to make a little correction. I think I said in the last episode that we're now the second best in terms of point scoring in the series. Actually, that's not true. We're 1 point behind our 2012 total, 2012 being in the HRT. We got 35 points that season. Constructors-wise, we're the second best, thanks to Fernando Alonso's 10 points. But in terms of my own personal score, we're still behind HRT and Virgin Racer. 2010 and 2012 are best performing seasons so far. But we're way ahead of all the other ones, at least. As you can see, that is 34 points on the board. 9th in the standings, just 3 behind Kvyat, who jumped us last race. Nico Rosberg leads the way by 19 points, but he retired, as did Sebastian Vettel, and Raikkonen won, which means that Raikkonen has jumped up into 3rd and is well in that championship hunt. You'd say at this stage, rank 12 of 19, maybe? Yeah, 19. Massa and Bottas, still, I'd say, probably on the fringes of that battle, but they're going to need some big results. Ricciardo and Kvyat just ahead of us, and then we are ahead of Perez, Hulkenberg, Maldonado, Grosjean. Alonso down in 14th, missed out on points in Belgium after a great start. Verstappen down in 15th with Sainz 16th, and it's Nasser, Ericsson, and then Stevens and Merry at the back with no points on board. And in the Constructors, Mercedes leading the way, but it's not a massive gap. Ferrari still in the hunt for that Constructors. Williams again, much like their drivers, probably on the fringes, but they will be caked out, you feel, of that title hunt soon. Red Bull on their own in 4th, way ahead of us, and Force India, who are now closing in on us, slowly but surely. Those Force Indias getting closer. Lotus in 7th ahead of Toro Rosso, Sauber and Mana Marussia. And it's Monza, Temple of Speed, as I said. Power is going to be the main aim of the game here, and this car does not really have any, but we've done alright in Monza in the past. Results-wise, may not look spectacular. It's one of those circuits we've not had points at, but a 12th in 2013 and a 13th last season in that Caterham means that potentially we could find ourselves picking up something here, even though this car is down on power. This is one of the remaining circuits where we've not scored points yet here. Japan, Brazil, Kota and Russia, but Russia obviously we've only driven out once. We'll skip Korea because obviously we're never going back there again. And Silverstone, the only other place now we are yet to score any points, and we missed out on points in Silverstone just right at the death. So maybe Monza can continue that streak that we've had this season of picking up results at places we've never really been able to in the past. Whether this season will be a one-off remains to be seen. Obviously driving Mana next year, and then we're into the long run of Williams, Sauber and Haas until 2025, where we jump behind the wheel of the Alpine. But it is very much Williams, Sauber, Haas going forward after next year. But right now in this McLaren, like I say, we've done alright this season. Places I thought we were going to struggle out, the likes of Austria, we've done alright. We would have picked up points at Austria if it wasn't for contact with Ricciardo near the end. We did alright at Silverstone. It's just tyre life at the end kind of caught us out. So maybe Monza can be a bit more of a surprise. I should probably, though, see just how bad our pace is here. To do that, I need to go and practice. While I do, we'll talk about the real world. 2015 Italian Grand Prix. Italian Grand Prix was ranked 12th in the 2015 season, with all 10 teams arriving at the Temple of Speed after Lotus were able to retrieve their cars for the race after the issues they encountered in Belgium. The Enston-based outfit was clear in their assertions that they had enough funds to make it to the end of the season. Practice 1 was a troubled session for Toro Rosso, tank spinning off a parabolica and getting stuck in the gravel, leading to a red flag period. He'd already complained of gearbox issues while his teammate Verstappen was lacking traction out of that final corner. Hamilton would lead the times ahead of Rosberg and Vettel. The pace advantage of the Mercedes power unit was underlined in the second practice session as all 8 Mercedes-powered cars were in the top 10, with only Ferrari able to mix in amongst them. Ricciardo had a hydraulic problem, Kvyat had gearbox issues, and Button was told to box due to an abnormality, limiting his run. Hamilton would once again lead the way ahead of Rosberg and Vettel. Left the Monza circuit slippery offline, meaning there was no running in the early part of P3 while the teams waited for the track to dry out. When cars began to run, Ricciardo ground to a halt with a terminal engine failure within 15 minutes remaining. Hamilton would make it a clean sweep for the practice sessions, though Vettel had this time split the two Mercedes by session's end. Qualifying would be held on a dry track after the earlier damp start, though problems would start before qualifying for Rosberg, Mercedes having to change the engine back to the one used in Belgium. He wasn't the only one having engine issues. Ricciardo and Verstappen only able to get out at the end of Q1 to set times. Verstappen wouldn't manage to set a lap time, though, as his engine cover ripped off the car. He'd be joined in the drop zone by both Mans and both McLarens. The issues would continue in Q2 for Ricciardo, the Australian unable to set a lap time at all, with Kvyat also joining in the drop zone. Maldonado, Sainz and Nasr would also have their qualifying at Q2. The final part of qualifying comes with an early end for Nico Hülkenberg, his forcing India crawling to a stop at the pit entrance. There'd be no such issues for the Mercedes of Hamilton though, as he stormed to another pole position, becoming Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel, the Ferraris turning up for their home fans. Rosberg, Massa, Bottas, Perez, Grosjean, Hülkenberg and Ericsson completed the top 10. Hamilton would convert his pole into lead off the line. 18 of the remaining cars following him, while Raikkonen's Ferrari lurched into anti-stop, but he would manage to get going, albeit on his own at the back. The slow-moving Finn would blunt Rosberg's progress. The Mercedes falling to 6th by the end of the open corners after having to avoid the stationary Ferrari. Hamilton would immediately begin to move away from Vettel, while Rosberg going past Perez further back, the German unable to make inroads with the pair of Williams cars ahead of him. Rosberg and his pit crew therefore turned their attention to a one-stop, bringing the car in at lap 18 in an attempt to goad the others into a stop. It worked in the short term. Massa and Bottas came in with the next 2 laps, while Rosberg took 2 for the price of 1 with rapid 8 laps, though he would not move into 3rd after Raikkonen ran a long first stint to sit ahead of the Mercedes. Hamilton was cruising away at the front, able to pit after Vettel to retain a healthy lead until Bono called for a hammer time with only 5 laps to go, much to everybody's confusion. Post-race, Hamilton's tyres were 0.3 psi below the new minimum pressure levels mandated after Spa, with Rosberg's tyres 1.1 psi too low. For Rosberg, though, it would be null and void as his car stopped with just 2 laps remaining. Hamilton would cross the line first and keep his victory, after it was deemed the pressure variations were because of the tyres losing temperature. That would take second in front of Tifosi, while Massa would inherit third. Bottas, Raikkonen, Perez, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Ericsson and Kvyat would complete the points. As our form headed into the fastest qualifying session of the season, while we had a dismal race in Belgium after contact with Hülkenberg and Kvyat and Ricciardo and anybody who wanted to get in the way, really. And the worry is the lack of pace shown there will also come through here as well. But I've been worried about our pace a few times before, and it's ended up not being too bad. So maybe we can spring a surprise here. Q3's out of the question. We don't have the pace for it. But let's aim for a solid P11 in qualifying, and hope we can give ourselves a good springboard to try and claim points at Monza for the first time in the series.
The pit lane will be open shortly, which means it's nearly time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza. I'm expecting a good showing from Ferrari at their home race this weekend. They've had a lot of success here over the years, and though they haven't won a race here since Fernando Alonso in 2010, you can never say never.
The fans here are amazing and always provide a lift to the Ferrari team, so I'm expecting them to be right in the mix come today's qualifying session.
All the focus, understandably, on Ferrari at Monza. Expect, realistically, that will even top the session in practice. So it did rain in the end, so that kind of messed a few people's run plans up. Not us. We were mid-table, as you'd kind of expect. Car feels all right around here. Maybe we'll have a decent run of it. I'd like to think Q1 should be a breeze. Q2 might be where we start hitting a wall. But it's going to get quite busy out there quite quickly just because of how Monza is. So let's get out, get some laps in, try and make our way through this first session. The fastest lap then in Q1, getting a little bit of a tone from the sound of Felipe Massa ahead, as it's the long run down towards the Rettifilio chicane. We get on brakes just at the right time. Massa really is holding us up just a touch here, but we stick behind him. We can actually get another toe through Curva Grande. You can see though how much the Honda lacks pace. Even the Ferrari engine in the back of that Sauber getting away from us as we head down towards the Della Roggia chicane, next heavy braking zone on the lap. Get the braking just right. We're up into the first sector. We can be liberal through the curb in there and get away with it as we head towards the Lesmos. Massa now is becoming a bit of a problem. They have to back off just a touch, but it gives us a bit of an easier run through Lesmo 1 and then through Lesmo 2. Get a little bit of a tank slapper on the way out, hold it and get the DRS open to follow the Sauber all the way down to the Ascari chicane. We pull out of the slipstream, probably going to ruin his lap here. We don't compromise ourselves too much into Ascari, not too bad whatsoever, though the exit a little scruffier than I'd like. We are though, however, still up on our first lap time as we head down towards what is known at the time as the Parabolica, but is now known as Curva Michele Alboreto. On the brakes nicely, just holding the car and getting the foot down before running across the line. It's going to be an improvement, hopefully enough to see us through.
Your time through sector 2 is good. We're dropping a little in sectors 1 and 3.
Nico Hülkenberg will be upset with that performance. He's not going to be in qualifying 2 today, as he's been knocked out in Q1.
Well, through into Q2, but with a 5-place grid drop, which I can only assume is from getting caught behind Will Stevens entering the pits and maybe giving him a slight nudge. Didn't even see that it had given us that. But through into Q2, by finishing 10th in that session, Alonso also through. Hülkenberg, Massa, Maldonado, Stevens and Mary out. That 5-place grid drop is going to cost us a little bit, I think. But let's cross into Q2. See if we can make it into Q3 and give ourselves just maybe a little bit of space from the back. Garage zone for Q2 at Monza. Fairly comfortable in the end to get through to this session. With enough pace maybe even to make it into the top 10. Frustratingly, with a 5-place grid drop though, so I can only assume contact with Will Stevens on the way into the pit lane, but fingers crossed we can do alright, get through to Q3 and give ourselves a bit more of a buffer. The fastest lap then in Q2, a bit more of a scruffy session than it was in Q1, so we're already on the back foot heading into this one, and we know we've got a penalty coming as well, but heavy on the brakes into the Rettifilio chicane. Just the right amount of curve on entry. Couldn't quite get the nose in through the second part, which actually compromised us a little on exit, but not too badly as we get into Curva Grande. Try the old miss-hit-miss technique, if you know which corners I mean from Nürburgring as we head towards the Della Roggia. again, on the brakes just at the right time. We're up in the first sector, take enough curve there to avoid the sausage curve on the inside and keep our foot in it as we head into the first Lesmo. Use the camber of the corner to try and swing the car around, and then in the second Lesmo, cut the inside apex roll just enough. Nicely done, pretty clean after what has been, like I said, a scruffy session to this point as we head up towards Ascari. On the brakes at the right time, a couple of tenths up, compromise through the middle, they got a little bit wide, kind of ruins our run through the third part of the corner section there as well, but again, not too bad at all, keeping the power down as we head down towards Alberetta. And again, kind of following the miss principle like we did in Curva Grande, just coming in and letting the car run out before trying to bring it back in again, gunning it for the line, but it's not quite enough to get through.
I think Fernando Alonso won't be pleased with his qualifying result today. He's outside the top 10 and with a lot to do tomorrow if he's going to salvage something from the weekend.
Disappointingly couldn't make it through Q2 there, and we finished that session 11th, just a 10th off Romain Grosjean, just ahead of Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Ericsson and Bottas, amazingly, getting knocked out there. But with our 5-place grid penalty that we've somehow accrued from Q1, we will be starting down in 16th spot, which is the same space that we started in Belgium, and we didn't really do very much there. However, it does feel a little bit better here in Italy. So, let's cross to the race, see if we can make up the ground on race day.
Welcome to Monza, where the crowd are ready for today's action, and we hope you're ready to see the world's best drivers fighting it out for that #1 spot. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg will want his good fortune to continue on from yesterday's qualifying. He starts the race in P1 and has even said he's expecting to take the checkered flag first. You wouldn't want to bet against him doing just that.
He has clean air in front of him, so we'll be hoping he can create a gap over the first few laps. If the cars in second and third can keep close until the first round of pit stops, then they may be able to take advantage on the undercut.
It was an excellent showing from the Red Bull team at the last race. They'll be hoping for a similar level of performance here again today.
It was a good performance, but it was just one race. If they want to maximise their potential in the Constructors' Championship, they'll need to produce that kind of form more often between now and the season's end.
On the grid then for the Italian Grand Prix, thanks to Anton Crofty for the intro 16th. After that penalty, it would have been 11th and we would have, I'd say, had a pretty decent shot at points. But we're back down here again, which I wouldn't say is too bad. It's a long run down to turn 1 and it is Monza turn 1, so there's probably going to be some shenanigans. Looks a bit overcast as well, so we may see a bit of change in weather, who knows. But yeah, I mean, the car doesn't feel as bad as it did in Belgium. We were all over the shop in Spa. We were on the fringes of making Q3 here, so I think the car might have a little bit more in it than I give it credit for. But this could be quite tough, because again, much like a lot of this season, make up those spots early on, but then spend the rest of the time defending, and obviously the DRS straights here, down towards Ascari and down towards the Rettifilio, long and very high power, so we may have a bit of a problem keeping people behind us. I'd like to think that we can move forward here, unlike in Belgium where I thought we were just going to go backwards, and that's exactly what we did. Points might still be a little bit too out of reach, but we're going to stretch our goal and we're going to go for P10, see if we can just scrape the fringes of the points, especially if there are issues for others going into the opening couple of corners. We did see in Belgium, obviously, retirements aplenty, so we might have the same here, but we really are going to have to make it up into turn 1. So it's going to be last of the late breakers and as brave as you like to be able to do that. But it's Monza, anything could happen here, so let's get those 5 red lights on and out again for the 2015 Italian Grand Prix.
Our grid position is not as high as we had hoped, but push hard in the race and hopefully with a bit of luck we can finish with a positive result.
Right, and away we go, and Jeff trying to G us up for this one. Stay to the inside, well, immediately lose Maldonado and Mazza. We'll get much later on the brakes. on the inside of Verstappen, I think. Right we are, we've got Verstappen and Alonso to the left of us. Really got to be careful here. Can we drag Fernando in the slipstream of Max? Yes, we can. Past Verstappen into the Della Roger and to P12. A little bit of minor contact, but no damage at least. Can we somehow get onto the back of Sergio Perez and the like ahead? We're not far off them. Gone away from Verstappen a little bit. Very liberal amount of curve through Ascari. That was a corner cut, that's for sure, but no penalties, no warnings there. Everybody in front trying to pull out of each other's slipstream to get some positions. We're in amongst this. Kvyat sights Grosjean all ahead of us. There's a yellow. There are cars round. We're into P7. Could be P6. As we cross the line, trying to hunt down Daniel Kvyat, sat right in the Russian slipstream. Right, braking into the Rettifilio chicane, and we are P6 at the start of lap 2. A couple of cars in the pits as well. Incident I don't actually think I had any part of, other than just being in the vicinity of it. We're in 6th spot on lap 2. We've got Daniel Kvyat though hunting us down. We get back to the rest of the field. Big gap forward to the top 6, so we're all duelling as well. Set the nose in. Off a little bit. He's going to pace us down here towards Alboreto. On the brakes much earlier. Look at that. Back into 6th. In a couple of laps, been pretty harum scarum. Survived. Doesn't look like it's taken long for the pack to close on us. Garage available this lap. Trying to stay to the inside as we head up towards Ascari. Kvyat kind of drives into the side of us a little bit. We do keep the Red Bull behind. In fact, Bottas has got past him.
Okay, I'm not seeing any issues with tyre wear right now. You should have good grip for a while yet.
Bottas now with me. Still to the inside. Bottas will. So shoulder charge on the way past. All out of shape there. Perez is not the man behind us, so a little gap again. It looks like the AI struggling to race wheel to wheel with each other, let alone me. All out of shape through a scar, and that's going to give Perez the advantage now.
Okay, just to advise you, we're expecting the tyre grip to
There he goes.
noticeably around now, but this set should be okay for a while longer despite that.
Because they break a little earlier and go round the outside, I think we're going to have DRS. There we go, in the pits.
Hamilton has just taken the lead.
Stop for the Mexican. Verstappen and Ricciardo, a big old group of others, including Kvyat, I think. Alonso in there too, all battling into turn 1. Number 19 in this race, I think Pastor Maldonado has dropped out as we've got the leaders in the pits. We're about to head in as well. Ricardo follows us in, Kvyat won't. Let's see a range of cars behind us coming in. Both Saubers have come in. bad news for them. Bottas has got back past us. He's got back past us as well. Raikkonen not far ahead of us, so unless Raikkonen is the one that's out, or he's just had a really bad pit stop. Should gain a bunch of spots back. Goes in, so we'll regain that spot. Back into the top 10 at least.
Alonso has just pitted. Alonso is in the pits.
To 9th. We have lost a couple of spots. And who else ahead is yet to pit though? Right with us as we head into Alboreto. Should easily have us down the straight. Hulkenberg though haven't been in yet, so we'll remain in P9 once we've been passed by Ricciardo.
Carlos is about to stop by the looks of it. Their pit crew are getting ready.
Late on the brakes, Ricciardo clips us. He's off.
You're now in P8.
Okay, close the door a little bit.
Let's get back up to racing speed.
Backwards off. Back up into P8 we go. Out of the Ascari. There he goes. Left his nose in for Ascari, which kind of compromised my life, but again. I'm braking a little bit earlier into Alboreto. I think he was behind at the line, so I should. DRS. Try and defend. Yes, I do. Getting out behind me. At least for now, we're going in at the end of this lap anyway. Right there, Kvyat as well. Stay to the inside up towards Ascari. A little earlier as well to make sure that we don't go into the back of the Red Bull. Place for Ascari as the tyres are losing grip. Here comes Hulkenberg. He's pitting again anyway, so that's not too big a deal. Contact, we'll get up the inside of the Force India. Kvyat will stay out for now. Verstappen's coming in with us. Wasn't in too long ago. Ericsson stays out, so this time no double single pit stop this time. P11 for us. Decent route lap here. Past the likes of Ericsson, Hulk, Perez and Kvyat leaving. It's definitely on the table here. Ericsson is in. Just leaving the pits here now as well. It's Kvyat. They'll just make it out in front of us, but we are far away, much more up to speed than he is. We'll go round the Red Bull back into P9. 7/8. Pitted and the Force Indias haven't. There's an issue somewhere. We stay right in front of Kvyat and Galarogic chicane. Inside at Ascari. There's a bit of contact.
It might be a good idea to move your brake balance forward.
And then we got to drive through.
The track is clear. Green flag
go points. I don't want her inside, we just have to let him go. Trying to get on the power to get back out of that one. Danger 14th, Kvyat's gone past. We've thrown away an opportunity there, I think. All over the shot through the Della Roja. Sights us through and then just parked it on the apex. It's unravelling rapidly. Grosjean. Back another position. Almost have an opportunity to go back past him. Through a scar, you've got to fight for something here. This has been terrible. Grosjean's going to come back at us pretty quickly. There he goes. We're the ones with DRS. Where is Grosjean going? Brakes, bring the inside. Back in front of the Lotus. And there's contact again.
That move was reckless. We're lucky not to have been penalised.
We get a flag down to 17th. And a lap down.
Green flag, we're racing again.
Two incidents of F1 2015 AI being F1 2015 AI.
If you continue to cut corners, the stewards will give you a penalty.
Slowing the car anywhere now. This race is unravelled big time. Catch up to Stevens and Alonso to regain some small semblance of pride, I guess. Get past Kvyat, who I think might have been in the pits after our little incident. Stevens not far ahead now. Vettel's lapped him.
Blue flag conditions. Create a gap and let the car behind
You
through.
feel should get past way before turns 1 and 2, which he does. And he's right behind Stevens, which will give us a chance, I think.
You're much faster than the car ahead through sector 1. Faster through sector 1.
He's basically forced off the track. We'll get back in front of him.
Sauber's pit crew are out to the garage and ready to receive one of their drivers.
Once again, right with us, then towards the Ascari. It's a little side swipe as you sort of expect, I think. Slipstream now. I wonder if we can use DRS to push that to pass. Might be able to, you know. A million miles away either. Something from this race, I guess. Kvyat goes through up towards Ascari.
Vettel's the race leader.
Staying right with him. sure we get the DRS. Oh, Kvyat's off. That was a big one. Well, that saves us from Kvyat, I guess. As we enter our final lap of the race. Race of two halves. We started so very well, and we were doing really well. Looked like points could be on the cards here for the first time in this series. After a collision with Ricciardo, who is still in the points, running well. Kvyat stuck a nose in it towards the scar, he spun us round. We're trying to just power out of it immediately. As soon as we did, Verstappen was on the scene. We had the Toro Rosso buried in the side of the car as there's a yellow flag out just ahead. Mazza's off, so we'll move up to 14th. 3D, thank you. There's another car off, that's Carlos Sainz, we're up to 13th. The result look a little bit respectable, I guess. Doesn't look like we're going to catch Fernando in time, though. Finish behind Nando. Overall, terrible end to the race after that incident. You can see the AI as Vettel takes the victory. You can see the AI early doors battling and through the rest of the race. Hence why we've just taken 2 spots at the end. We're coming P13.
What a fantastic result for Sebastian Vettel. He's really performed brilliantly today. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye and see you again next time.
Vettel takes the victory ahead of Hamilton, then is Rosberg in third. Bottas recovers to fourth after a poor start. Raikkonen's fifth with Massa. Sixth in his Hulk. Ricciardo manages to recover to eighth after his contact with us. Perez is ninth. Marcus Ericsson comes home 10th. Verstappen 11th, even after the incident with us again. Fernando Alonso is 12th ahead of us. We finished 13th. Grosjean in 14th, then is Will Stevens, Carlos Sainz, Roberto Merri. Kvyat down in 18th in the end after another incident with us late on. Felipe Nasr didn't finish, he ended up putting it in the wall right at the death there, and Pastor Maldonado out quite early on. What does that do to the stand-ins? Well, Nico Rosberg now leads by 16 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Vettel moves back into third and he's 28 points behind. Then it's Kimi Raikkonen in fourth, then it's Massa, Bottas, Ricciardo, Kvyat. We remain ninth ahead of Perez. Hulkenberg's 11th ahead of Maldonado. Grosjean, Alonso down in 14th. Verstappen, Sainz, Nasr, Ericsson, then it's Stevens and Merri. And in the constructors, we slip behind Force India down to 6th spot. It's Mercedes ahead at the top, though, 44 clear of Ferrari. There's Williams, Red Bull. Force India moved 2 points clear of us. Lotus remain 22 behind. Then it's Toro Rosso, Sauber, Mana Marussia. And I genuinely think we could have had points there. Possibly even enough to be level on points with Force India, if not still ahead of them. Again, trying to race wheel to wheel with the AI in F1 2015 is a risky move, because they just keep their noses in where they shouldn't do, and in doing so, it spins them around, spins us around, and well, we definitely had the pace, I think, to maybe snag a 10th. Maybe even a 9th, especially with incidents going on up and down the field, but wasn't to be. Means it's another run of 2 races with no points scored, much like we had Austria and Britain. Hungary saved us that time. This time, though, the next race is Singapore. We've only failed to score here once in the entire series, and that was last season, again through kind of our own fault, realistically. A pit lane infringement crossing the white line, if I remember rightly, when we were on for points in the Caterham. But we've taken 2 10th spots, a 4th and a 2nd, although the 4th and 2nd came in pretty dubious, chaotic circumstances. Singapore, though, somewhere we might be able to get back on track, and I really hope we can, because then we're moving into the tail end of this season, and opportunities to score points are going to become fewer and further between. But that race could have been and should have been so much better. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a little bit painful for me at the end. much like Belgium before it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. You know the drill by now. See you for the next one at Marina Bay. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.